Donald Trump's motorcade arrived in Crotona Park tonight. The crowd surged to get a look at him. More like a pop star than a politician. Not everyone wants a pop star for president.
Yes, and then the local media, ABC 7 in New York, jumping in. Yeah, he arrived. He's got a motorcade, more like a pop star. New York may not want a pop star. It'll be the first time that New York didn't want a pop star. And now, Led Zeppelin. It's funny how positive Donald Trump was in the Bronx, and hearing from you, calling in and hearing from people texting me and emailing and tweeting the positive nature of Trump's speech, his event in the Bronx, and generally speaking, he's all about positive about booming economy and low inflation and gas prices, things that a president should be talking about and should be doing rather than race, the Democrat Party, the party of Jim Crow and standing in schoolhouse doors. What's the matter with these people? I gotta say, crazy man, crazy. Yeah, so it's the ABC 7 reporter Jim Dolan. Not a very nice Irish boy. The Dolan family is not very proud of this Jim Dolan. The motorcade arrived, the crowd surged, and, more like a pop star than a politician. Not everybody wants a pop star for the first time in history. That's amazing stuff. So, ABC 7. Then they went and they found there were anti-Trump protesters over in the corner of the park, on the ABC station in New York City, our most populous city, with the crime wave of illegal aliens and the crime wave of Democrats, even before the crime wave of illegal aliens got there. So the Jim Dolan, ABC 7 New York, went over and found some malcontented, morbidly obese leftist.
First of all, he's a big fat bigot, and
I'm sorry, who?
He just doesn't have any love in his heart for anyone of color, anyone who's in the LGBTQ plus community.
Plus, it's the plus is key. I think if I were the reporter, I'd move the microphone back to her and say, "What's the plus for? What is that plus?" And I mean, what more is there? Then you're lesbian, you're gay, you're bisexual, you're transsexual, and then there's plus. What is plus exactly? I think I might ask her, but I wasn't the reporter for ABC 7. Jim Dolan was.
Presidential candidate Donald Trump came to the South Bronx today to speak to some supporters and to a fair amount of empty space in Crotona Park. He was as bellicose as you'd expect.
Sounds kind of like a reporter on The Simpsons, doesn't he? He said, that was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. He was taken to another hospital where his condition was upgraded to alive. Sounds like he learned his reporter skills from The Simpsons.
Burns was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. He was then transferred to a better hospital where doctors upgraded his condition to alive.
Hey, wait, Michael had that soundbite at the ready. I can't believe that. I was just going to... Jim Dolan, he's trying to get a network job.
But Trump is a billionaire, and the South Bronx doesn't house any billionaires. Politically, Trump shouldn't get his hopes up.
If you did a poll about who's more popular, Donald Trump or lead paint, I suspect lead is more popular than Donald Trump in the Bronx.
Well, I suspect, crack cocaine and child molestation more popular in Democrat Party households, but that's another thing. So Jim Dolan went out, and he does sound just like the reporter from The Simpsons.
Kent Brockman.
It's Kent Brockman, exactly. Kent Brockman. He sounds like Kent Brockman with ABC 7 in New York. Great stuff. And the Bronx doesn't house any billionaires. Well, there's a billionaire there today, and he's talking to people like they're normal people and like we're all on the same team. And that upset Kent Brockman here because... then he found a few, and there are only a few malcontented people, not enough to loot any stores, not enough to burn and overturn police cars, just a few liberals there. And what is their thing? They're malcontented, they're maladjusted, they're malevolent, they're malignant. There are a lot of M words, and they're not happy, which is an H word. They're just unhappy people, and that's the book on these guys these days, on those people. Those people. And you people. That's right. So, yeah, Kent Brockman, ABC 7, went and found the malcontents.
There were a few tense moments as the two sides shared space in the park, but most were tolerant of one another, if dismissive.
I'm not surprised that ignorance is here, and I choose to not be ignorant because I read books.
Sure. If you do, they're probably the wrong books, but that's all right. You can, in my America, you get to choose what you read, and you get to be an ignorant beep and vote for Democrats and make matters worse because, that's how you people are. Yes, sir. You may remember that the Democrat governor of the state of New York this is Kathy Hochul. She's the one who recently said that black people in the Bronx don't even know what a computer is.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is.
They don't know what the word computer, well, they go to the schools that you guys put together for them. And then I went and I looked up, and there was lots of audio of students in the Bronx saying, well, yeah, I got a free laptop, I got a free iPad, and there were thousands and thousands and tens of hundreds of thousands of free laptops and free iPads given to the students in the Bronx, and the idiot governor, who's a Democrat and an idiot. Did I mention that she's an idiot? She doesn't even know what her own state is doing in the schools.
Well, the only thing that I could tell you is that I'm a black guy from the Bronx, and I know what the word computers mean.
He's got a singing voice, doesn't he? He should be a singer. Amazing stuff, Kathy Hochul. And and she is anybody out there in the Bronx supporting Trump, they can't be good.
Well, I'll tell you, it won't make a difference at all, Jake, and that is for Donald Trump to be the ringleader and invite all his clowns to a place like the Bronx. New York will never, ever support Donald Trump for president.
They're the clowns, not you, waving in the Venezuelan gangs to drag grandmothers down the street on their stolen Vespas while stealing everything from them. Yeah, these Bronx residents who are people of color and people of all stripes, they're the clowns. Is that right, Gouberneur? These people are little fascists. She should let her mustache fill in, I think, don't you think? Stop having that wax thing done. She should just the middle part. She should just let the middle part fill in. And what did I say? Oh, yeah, the Democrats was that on CNN last night where they're doing all the Trump is Hitler stuff? They're doing lots of Trump is Hitler. And maybe it was MSDNC. What's the difference? Honestly, not a lot of difference. In fact, there is a story just hit the presses today that CNN not doing very well at all, and that's generous understatement, I think, because it turns out that CNN, the Daily Beast, left-wing rag, the headline is CNN hits lowest primetime ratings since 1991. 1991. I was actually working there in 1991. That was the first Persian Gulf War. That's when CNN made their name. The boys in Baghdad and all that stuff. Bernard Shaw and John Holloman and Peter Arnett. And the boys in Baghdad. And that's when CNN was, finally on the map, because they really weren't before that, the 91 Gulf War. But now CNN hits lowest primetime rating since 1991. How many years ago is that now, Michael? That's 33 years ago now. That's a third of a century, isn't it? That's a third of a century ago. CNN's primetime programming just had its worst week in ratings since the 1990s, according to Nielsen. It's not just the 90s. That could be 99. It's 91. That's the beginning of the 90s. According to the Nielsen data reviewed by the New York Post for the week of May 13 to May 19, the cable channel's 8 to 11 p.m. show drew an average of 83,000 viewers. 83,000. That's like one college stadium. That's a college football stadium. Iowa, Nebraska, Michigan. That's one stadium in a country of 330 million people. And this is their primetime ratings. Thank you very much. That's your CNN. And the reason is they're a donkey show, and nobody believes anything that they say. And then there's MSDNC. MSDNC hired the racist anti-Semite, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and they pay him $1 million a year and more because, he shook them down. He extorted it out of them. Don't you know who he is? And the Reverend Al Sharpton talking about President Trump in the Bronx last night. Even he was, I guess he must have watched a little bit of it.
Donald Trump is a street fighter. You do not come into the ring with him with gloves, looking for a referee to stop every 3 minutes rest. No, this is a street fight. You come in with a broke bottle and an ash can because it's going to be that kind of battle.
And they're agreeing with him before he said anything. You hear that? Yes. Donald Trump is and then yes, whatever he was going to say, they're just going to agree with loudly. Coming with a broke bottle and an ash can. And that's so clever. That's so funny. No, you guys go around jamming broken bottles into people's faces. You're criminals and Democrats. Oh, yeah, speaking of which, I should get to, since we're talking about Al Sharpton and crime and criminals and everything. Out of the great state of Illinois, this is an amazing story. Justice impacted individuals, in quotation marks, is a double-think phrase that could come back to haunt Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker is the corpulent Democrat governor, inherited billions, the Hyatt Hotel fortune, and then bought the governor's mansion. I assume he'll end up in prison, which is the tradition for Illinois governors. Right-wing Twitter sure went to town with the justice-impacted individual this week. Now, I love the way that they begin the story attacking people that notice the idiocy that Democrats engage in, because Democrats in the State House in Springfield, Illinois, they passed a law. The Democrats in the State House and then the Democrats in the State Senate, they passed a law declaring that official documents and official language used by the state government in Illinois will no longer be allowed to refer to convicted criminals as criminals or as convicted criminals, because that language is just too harsh for murderers and carjackers and robbers and all the various criminals that Democrats produce. And instead, criminals will now be known as justice-impacted individuals. That's the language that they prefer. So they rewrote the language. Just Democrats being Democrats. Pretty amazing stuff. And now are you a convicted criminal? Are you an ex-convict? No, but I am a justice-impacted individual. That's when they pull out the gun and shoot you. So you're a justice-impacted individual. They don't want to offend criminal offenders. So they jammed through the courthouse, the State House, rather, the State House and the State Senate, redefine offenders as justice-impacted individuals. And they're waiting for Pritzker to sign it. He will sign it because he's a maroon. Amazing time we're living in, isn't it? A recent study reports that the rapidly declining global birth rate will lead to a major population crisis if birth rates continue to decline, particularly in good places. While we may feel hopeless in the constant attack on human life in the United States by the left, there's an amazing way to fight back. When they shout abortion, we shout life. Preborn is leading the way. Every day, the Preborn Network rescues 200 unborn babies. When a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears the heartbeat, the baby's chance at living a long and happy life doubles. Now, the ultrasound is a secret weapon that joins the heart of the mother with the heart of her child. Preborn provides ultrasounds for clinics in the highest abortion areas in the country. And we can join hands nationwide for life, can't we? One ultrasound is just $28, but any gift at all, $5 will help. $5,000 will underwrite ultrasound for the entire network for an entire day across the country, and all of your gifts are tax deductible. To donate, all you have to do is go to your phone and dial pound 250. When prompted, you say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 on your phone. The keyword is baby. Or you can go online and visit preborn.com/plant. That's me, PLANTE, preborn.com/plant. Save a life. Don't be a Democrat. Yeah, justice impacted individuals. That's a JII. They'll end up calling it a J because they're all out of their minds. All right, much more coming up, and I've got some Israel news too.
Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle?
For Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or Sandy Cortez, as she was known in high school, every day is an IQ test, and she doesn't fare very well.
New York City's blue. Brooklyn is blue.
What?
Queens is blue. The Bronx is blue. And he's got nowhere to go. And so he's decided to come to the South Bronx. He's broke. He needs to pay these legal funds.
He's broke.
And, busing people in order to get those donations so that he can funnel them to his legal fees is kind of his business right now.
She's a moron. Everything that she said right there is false. They didn't bust people in. He's obviously not broke. He just picked up $3.5 billion on the sale of Truth Social. Manderson Pooper on CNN. He was all excited. Well, you know what? I'm looking at the clock now, and I want to go to Manderson Pooper and his reporter, and then she said, yeah, busing him in, and he's broke. No, you guys bust people in, and you guys make other people broke because you're commies. And honestly, when you see Sandy Cortez, snap your fingers. Say, vodka martini, very dry, lemon twist. Vodka. And chop, chop, would you? And go like this with your hand, like chop, chop on one hand, on the other. And chop, chop, Sandy. Come on, choppity, chop. Let's get that vodka martini with a lemon twist going. Kitty cat. And when she said, Brooklyn is blue, the Bronx is blue, New York is blue. How do you think she's spelling that? How do you think she's... I don't know about her. She's a Democrat member of the House of Representatives. Oh, how our institutions have sunk. They sunk into new levels, never before seen in the history of the United States of America. I've got Manderson Pooper coming up, and then we've got other stuff, too. It's Friday. The Democrats continue to attack the Jews, and Israel and Netanyahu. They're not on our side. They want more illegal alien Jordanians sneaking into Quantico, the Marine base at Quantico. Kind of amazing stuff. Also in Washington, this is a good thing. The House of Representatives is in Washington, D.C., we have a bunch of corrupt Democrats who are incredibly dumb and they like more murder. I think they're invested in coffins. The mayor of Washington, D.C. and the city council. We got Trayon White. He thinks that the Jews make it snow and control the climate and stuff. But the House of Representatives yesterday voted to kill a D.C. bill because the Democrats in D.C. voted to give illegal aliens the vote, because they are here to undo the United States of America, to fundamentally transform, open the borders, then give the illegal aliens the vote, and they figure the communists will win that way. Of course, a lot of these people are fleeing communists, but never mind that. The Washington Times has the story on the front page, House votes to kill D.C. non-citizen voting law. 52 Democrats join move to repeal, but a great many more Democrats voted to keep the vote for illegal aliens in Washington, D.C. And the idiot Democrats running this place, our idiot mayor, our idiot city council, our racist, dim-witted, anti-Semitic city council. The House of Representatives yesterday delivered a bipartisan rebuke to the District of Columbia over a new law passed by Democrats here in D.C. allowing non-citizens, including illegal immigrants, to cast ballots in local elections, which are held on the same day as federal elections, national elections. And once you're in there voting, don't kid yourself. The Democrats know that this is about stealing and being criminals. Republicans cast the vote as part of a broader attempt to defend citizenship against attempts to dilute its value, the value of U.S. citizenship, and put citizens on par with temporary visitors and unauthorized migrants. Temporary visitors, I mean, you literally, if you're here on vacation from Burkina Faso, you just register on election day and you're invited to vote. You're an illegal alien and you're invited to vote. Put citizenship back in its rightful place as the gold standard, said Representative August Pfluger, the Texas Republican, wrote in the legislation. The bill was approved, listen to this, by a 262 to 143 vote, with Democrats joining Republicans, underscoring the issue's political potency. But hang on a second, because 142 Democrats in the House of Representatives, 143 Democrats in the House of Representatives voted to give illegal alien criminal gang members the vote in our nation's capital. They should be gassed. All right, well, they should be removed from Congress. They should, honestly, you vote to give illegal aliens, gang members, human traffickers, drug traffickers, the right to vote in the capital of the United States of America. 143 Democrats voted to do that. Another Democrat is a millionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but his family is a billionaire family. Manderson Pooper. Gloria Vanderbilt was his mother of Vanderbilt genes and all that, and his father Cooper was a Wall Street tycoon, and he makes perfectly good living himself too. But that aside, Manderson Pooper last night pretty upset about this. You can see in his tone, his voice, his furrowed brow, his body language. Trump is having a rally in the Bronx, and people showed up by the tens of thousands, and they're supporting Donald Trump. Manderson Pooper. They had a reporter on the scene, Kristen Holmes, and Manderson Pooper.
What was the crowd like, and what kind of response did he get?
Well, certainly a bigger crowd than I think Democrats would like to see, particularly given this is one of the bluest counties in the entire country. Now, one of the things that was interesting to me is that the Trump campaign said that they were going to micro-target to get people from the community to come to this rally. I wasn't sure what to expect. I've gone to a lot of these rallies across the country, and there are often people who travel hundreds of miles to see Donald Trump, and they're not necessarily part of the community. However, one of the things that I found was that there were a lot of people here that were actually from the Bronx.
Imagine that. Gosh, she's going to, first of all, they're playing YMCA in the background, and the crowd was dancing and doing the Y and the M and the CA thing. And it's one of the gayest songs in the history of the world, obviously. And they accuse everybody of being racist when they're racist. They accuse everybody of being homophobic, which is an irrational fear of homosexuality. And I don't think there's a lot of that going around. But you guys can be annoying on a whole lot of different levels. Nobody cares that you're gay. Can you just act like normal people and everybody will be fine? You have to keep getting in everybody's face about everything. But they're playing YMCA. Everybody's having a good time. Oh, they said he were micro-targeting the little reporter woman, Kristen Holmes. Kristen, is that her porn name? I don't know. Micro-targeting. Boy, I was surprised to learn that a lot of people here are actually from the Bronx.
Before we actually even came in, we talked to a number of people outside in the community, and the reaction to him being here was really mixed. You had people saying he doesn't belong here, he should get out, but you also had a number of people, voters, who told me that they had supported Biden in 2020. They were very unhappy, particularly with the state of the economy, and they were looking for alternatives, namely former President Donald Trump.
Yes. Yeah. In the community, they love that word community. They use it a lot. I was talking to people in the community. Where else would you speak to them? You mean on the sidewalk, on the street, in the park? We're in the community. Are they from the community? Are you from the community? It's the community. I'm telling you. These people. Yeah, and I do love I'm getting texts, even from friends in Chicago, about the Illinois changing the language for criminals. Because they want to be friendlier to criminals. They want criminals to you don't want to stigmatize people for murdering and stabbing and robbing and shooting and carjacking and all that crazy stuff. But you're a Democrat Party. Aren't they out of their minds? Yeah, we did that story on my Newsmax show last night, as a matter of fact. And there were a lot of words the Democrats change. They change a lot of words. Like recession. After we had 2 consecutive fiscal quarters of negative economic growth under Joe Biden, the Democrats just threw out the meaning of the word recession, which was always 2 consecutive economic quarters, fiscal quarters of negative economic growth. And they're like, no, that's not a recession anymore. And of course, a girl is not a girl anymore, and a boy is not a boy anymore, and the man is not a man anymore, and child molesters aren't child molesters. Now they're minor attracted persons. Or you can just call them Democrat voters, typically gay child molesters. This is, and as I said last night on News, this is not a mere case of terminological inexactitude. This is the deliberate Stalinist, Marxist, and Orwellian manipulation of the English language. But aren't they amazing? Speaking of which, the Democrats are now calling our ally, Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of the only Jewish state on the planet Earth, calling him all kinds of terrible names. And they don't want him. There's some discussion of Benjamin Netanyahu being invited to Washington to address a joint session of Congress. So in the House of Representatives, the Senate would gather, the members of the House would gather, the prime minister of an allied country, Israel, under assault by the troglodytes from hell, who are hell-bent on the total extermination of the state of Israel. And then the Democrats on campuses are chanting from the river to the sea and we are Hamas, right? Now, what is Hamas? You might have heard the report earlier today. Israeli military recovers the bodies of 3 more hostages from October 7th from Gaza. NBC News, not a very well-written headline. The news came as CIA Director William Burns, yeah, he's doing a heck of a job, was headed to Europe in a bid to revive ceasefire talks. Yeah, tell Hamas to turn over their leadership, to put them on trial as war crimes. But the International Criminal Court, run by leftists and a man named Khan, they want to put Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister on trial. Yeah, and maybe Hamas too. They're still holding hostages that they're raping and murdering, and never mind that. So he wants to renew ceasefire talks as the top United Nations court ordered Israel to halt its Rafah assault. The United Nations can't order any country to do anything, and you can take your order, roll it up, and shove it. Not to be indelicate, but there's more, because out of Tel Aviv, Israel, the bodies of 3 more hostages that were killed in Hamas's October 7th attacks. Now, they can't say that because that's a lie in the opening line by Raf Sanchez and Chantel da Silva. No, they didn't just find the bodies now that were killed October 7th. They were taken alive, tortured and raped and murdered much later because they were hostages. They recovered from the Gaza Strip, the Israeli military said on Friday, as the CIA chief headed to Europe in a bid to revive ceasefire talks. Take your ceasefire talks. I'll tell you what we need to do is send laser-guided and GPS-guided munitions to bomb these troglodytes, these savages, to the hell in which they belong. Now, with that said, let's go to this story, and we have audio of this. It's in Arabic, but I will share it with you and explain it because we have the transcript translated to English. Here's the headline, not in the Washington Post, the New York Times. Father-son Hamas terrorists casually described taking turns raping Israeli woman, then executing her in bone-chilling video. And they posted the video, and it's pretty amazing stuff. The bone-chilling new video shows a Hamas terrorist and his teenage son casually telling Israeli interrogators how they took turns raping a woman, then executed her during the October 7th terror rampage. Jamal Hussein Ahmad Radi. Hey, isn't Barack Hussein Obama's middle name Hussein? Is that a coincidence, do you think? Maybe they're related. 47 years old, and his 18-year-old son, Abdullah. Hey, what do those names have in common? Were seized by the Israeli Defense Forces in the Gaza Strip this spring, subsequently questioned about the terror attack, the Daily Mail revealed. Jamal described finding a woman who was, quote, screaming and crying, end quote, in a house at a kibbutz near Oz, Niroz, a community near the Israel-Gaza border. Now, and here are pictures of the guys, and they've got videos, and they posted the videos. I did what I did, he said. I raped her, he said very nonchalantly. I threatened her with my gun to take her clothes off. I remember she was wearing jean shorts. That's about it. Jamal claimed that he did not know what happened to the woman after the rape, but his teen son told the interrogators that his father killed the desperate victim. My father raped her, and I did, and then my cousin did, and then we left. But my father killed the woman after we finished raping her, Abdullah said in the interview tape, which is posted here. In the footage, Jamal was handcuffed and dressed in gray tracksuit and sitting in front of an Israeli flag. And the videotape has them talking all about it, and just listen to the tone. And he's using his hands, and he's describing. The IDF officer says, approximately how old was the victim that was raped by your father, Jamal Hussein Abdul Radi? About 30 years old, he said. Your father was the first to rape? Son Jamal says, yes. Then I and Ahmad, we raped her too, and then we left. But I left before my father, and Hassan, Ahmed, and I left. You left after you raped her? Jamal says, yes, after we raped her. And the IDF says, you left and went where? Jamal says, we left the house. IDF says, was she alive? Jamal says, no, my father killed her. After he finished raping her, my father killed her. IDF says, how old were the children you kidnapped and handed over to Hamas? Jamal says young people from 7, 10, 12 years old. IDF says, how many men were in this group of settlers who were arrested? Jamal says, arrested, that's taken hostage. Jamal says, approximately 5. IDF says, and the rest? Jamal says, women and young children. IDF says, and then? Jamal says, then I found 5 young men and girls walking. We shot them. When they tried to escape, they all fell to the ground. IDF says, the 5 people were shot? Jamal says, yes. What happened to them? They died? They were injured? They fell to the ground. I don't know. So these are the savages that we're talking about here. These people are like serial killers. They're like John Wayne Gacy. They are psychotic, and it's not like there are just 3 of them. This is a cultural reality, a cultural phenomenon. It's not isolated to a few people. This is what Israel is fighting. And what do the Democrats say when you talk about Benjamin Netanyahu coming to address Congress? We've got that coming up. Ah, yes. Now, Rashida Tlaib is a radical extremist Democrat, member of the House of Representatives, who is a virulent anti-Semite, anti-Israel. Me, I'm pro-Israel and not an anti-Semite. I'm kind of old-fashioned that way. And Chad Pergram of Fox News saw Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman, walking across the the grounds outside the Capitol building and asked her a question about a proposal that Benjamin Netanyahu, our ally, Israeli prime minister under attack at war, be invited to the Congress to address a joint session of Congress. And Rashida Tlaib had a staffer open a big umbrella and jam it in the face of Chad Pergram and the cameraman there, but Chad persisted.
What happens if Netanyahu comes to speak?
That's the umbrella.
Would you attend? Would you protest in any form?
I don't know. Inviting a war criminal to Congress is a sham. It's shameful.
Say that again, because we got blockers. Say that again, please.
Say that again.
We have it on video, guys.
We have it on video, guys. That's good stuff. Yeah, he's a war criminal. You're a war criminal, lady. You're demented. A Democrat senator named Jeff Merkley. Merkley is related to Muffley Merkin, and he was asked, well, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses Congress. Would you boycott? Would you attend?
I think he is not the right person to come and talk about affairs in the Middle East at this moment.
And you wouldn't go if he comes?
I will not.
Well, you should have Hamas come because you guys are more Hamas-oriented, I think. I'd wanted to get to another phone call, but they gave me too much stuff, and I apologize. I'm going to have to go down to Newsmax and do another hour. That will air at 10 o'clock tonight, and hopefully you can join me there. We've got all kinds of madness going on. You know, President Trump actually speaks tomorrow night in D.C., Washington, D.C., at the Washington Hilton, sometimes called the Hinckley Hilton here in Washington, D.C., and President Trump will be here, and he'll be speaking. He's addressing the Libertarian Party convention in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. And, you know, President Trump, hey, it doesn't matter if you're black or white or Asian or Latino. We're all Americans here. Joe Biden's message is the exact opposite of that. Democrats.